Hey guys, so today is the day that I'm going to chat about homeschooling high school. I feel like this is a scary topic for some homeschool moms that think, I can homeschool elementary, maybe even middle school, but I couldn't possibly homeschool in high school. I'm going to have to send them back to public school or send them to a private school or something for high school because it's just, for whatever reason, people think high school is really daunting and it's like, okay, now it's time to get serious. Like, sure. They were learning in elementary and middle school, but like high school, this is time to get serious and think about your future. So I think that's why some people are afraid of high school. I think probably back in the day when I was originally thinking about homeschooling, I probably felt the same way, but we've been homeschooling for a good amount of time and I am just so fully committed to homeschooling. It's such a passion of mine now that high school doesn't scare me at all. I've also watched a ton of videos like this on YouTube that have encouraged me and breathed life into me about homeschooling high school. So I wanted to give back and post a video today or film a video today about homeschooling high school. It also feels fitting because we tried to go get his permit today. My high schooler, he is 15. We tried to go get his permit today. In one of my videos recently, I was talking about how frustrating it is when your teenager still kind of struggles to do things for themselves and you have to help them a lot still, which is just a normal part of life. They need to learn, they have to be taught certain things. But it can feel frustrating sometimes, especially when you have like toddlers and little ones around. I have 3 younger kids. My 2 oldest of the younger ones are at like a little elective school on Fridays today. So I thought, okay, this is a perfect day. My dad was able to come with us. I just had the toddler, who she's the worst one, but when you just have one little one, it's a lot easier than 3. So I was like, let's go to the DPS today. Got everything together, everything printed out and all of that. So we drive out with my dad and you have to have an appointment, which I did not realize. And I thought you could just show up, like back in my day, you just show up at the DPS, and you wait however long it takes. But nowadays, I guess, at least ours, you have to have an appointment, which I wish the course was like really laid things out for us. I wish they would have mentioned that. But it's probably not every DPS or whatever. But I think after COVID, now you have to have an appointment. So anyway, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to try to make an appointment. Maybe it could be for like an hour from now or something. Not till Tuesday did they have an opening. I was like, wow, okay. So they were talking about Tuesday. Then I realized, oh no, it's not this Tuesday. The first opening is the next Tuesday. So anyway, it was kind of frustrating because we drove all the way out there and everything. But my dad has a really good sense of humor and he just kind of laughs these things off, and that really helped my anxiety and stress. And we just kind of laughed about how horrible the DPS is, and I told my dad about the scene in Zootopia where they have sloths. It's like an animal world and sloths are what work at the DPS, and we laughed about that. And we just, we got to spend some time with my dad. So we tried to just look at it on the bright side, but it can be really irritating. I don't know. It's my first kid that's like going through this process, getting their license, and I feel very much like I'm treading water and I don't really know what I'm doing. And so anyway, we will, a couple Tuesdays from now, we will be there and we will get this permit, whether they like it or not. My dad said something like, you just have to keep hitting it with the hammer. Just keep hitting it with the hammer and eventually you'll get through it. And that is just so true for life. Or when Carter was in the hospital, the nurses and stuff, he had issues with his NG tube that was up his nose, wasn't working. They would call it troubleshooting. Let's troubleshoot this or whatever. So that's just life. There's a lot of troubleshooting you have to do in life. So that was a good life lesson for having a high schooler. And I feel like I'm telling this story to you guys because I feel like that is what's most important. It's not being in a classroom all day long, 5 days a week, that's really going to help your child succeed in the future. It's teaching them to be resilient and teaching them how to troubleshoot and, getting them their permit and their driver's license, even though you don't feel ready because they still feel like they're 4 years old to you. I'm not ready for this, you guys. That's the other thing. It's like emotionally, I had to like build myself up to be like, okay, we're going to this permit. Like, this is actually happening. Emotionally, I'm like getting ready for this. And then we get there and it's like, no, it's not happening. Like, so anyway, stressful, but we're figuring it out. All right, guys, so let's get into the tips. So first of all, I will share with you, this is my first time doing high school, homeschooling high school. My oldest is 15. He's in 9th grade. So this is the first year and we're nearing the end of 9th grade. So I felt like this is a good time to share some of my tips and encouragement. Now, of course, I have not graduated him or anything like that, so I can't give you that kind of advice, but just with like getting started and how things are going. My neighbor is doing his yard right now and it's super annoying to me. I don't like this guy. Like, don't you have a job to be doing? You're really mowing your lawn at Friday at 11:47? Anyway, so my first tip would be to just kind of figure out the path that you think your child is going to be going on. Now, you don't want to pigeonhole them or lower their options, right? You want to give them lots of options, whether they want to go to college or not at this point. I think it's a good idea to like prepare them for possibly going to college. But I still think, even though, yes, you want to give them options and make sure that they can, if they want to, go to college. But I also think that it's good to still look at your child, evaluate your child and their readiness before you start jumping into certain things. For example, dual enrollment is a thing that people will have their kids do, and when you homeschool, you could probably very easily have like your associates by the time you graduate. Definitely, even maybe more than that, which is great. I think it's dual enrollment is something they offer in public school also, and I think it's a great way to save money. So I'm definitely not against dual enrollment, but for our situation, I have decided to kind of pump the brakes. Now, he's only in 9th grade, but I really thought by like at least 10th grade, I would have him doing some kind of dual enrollment through like the community college that we live near, that I think is a pretty good community college. But as those of you, so this is where the unique child comes into play. There are a couple of reasons why I don't think I'm going to do that for his 10th grade year. So one is that he missed like an entire year of school. So he's almost still like an 8th grader in some ways, because in his 8th grade year last year, he had a bowel obstruction and it was a terrible ordeal. I've talked about this on my channel. He was in the hospital, he had an ostomy bag, and it all started at the beginning of the school year of his 8th grade year. And so, that set him back for his schooling. Like, he was taking Algebra 1 in 8th grade. Now, he was actually going to public school at that point. That's a whole other story. But anyway, so he was taking Algebra 1 in 8th grade. He did end up doing some online stuff, like as he was healing and everything near the end of the school year, but I had him do like a pre-algebra online just because I was like, I don't think he's really ready. I want him to take a full year of Algebra 1 and we'll just do it next school year, because there are plenty of people that take Algebra 1 in 9th grade. Now, he's very math-minded, and so it made sense for him to take Algebra 1 in 8th grade, but because of what happened, I was like, we'll just do Algebra 1 in 9th grade. So we did that, but then as far as like English, history, like all of the other subjects, like he missed an entire year. And not only schooling-wise, but just mentally. It's like I was feeling this and thinking this, but I never said it to him, but then he said it to me recently, that he felt like he lost a year of his life. All right, toddler disaster, and then my neighbor was being very loud, mowing their lawn rudely. So hopefully all that has passed, because I have to go pick up my other little one soon. But as I was saying, basically my point in sharing all of that with you guys is that your child might not have had a medical emergency, but maybe they have had other issues emotionally or mentally. Because just because this is a big thing for me, that even before I was homeschooling, I was always passionate about this. Just because someone is intellectually ready for something, like they can learn the material, doesn't mean they're emotionally ready. So oftentimes I will see parents kind of push their kid into the next grade level for whatever reason, maybe because they work and they need their kid to be in school, and so they push them to be like a very young kindergartner or whatever because they can pass the test and they can do well that way. Or, maybe even in homeschooling, they just see that their child is doing so well. They're like, oh, you can do first grade work even though you're in kindergarten. So now, boom, you're a first grader. I've decided to make you a first grader. To me, I personally, now people feel differently about this, but I personally think that's wrong. My child, who is in first grade, he's doing second grade math, but he's not a second grader. I'm not going to be like, okay, now you're in second grade. No, he's in first grade. These are just kind of like arbitrary grades, just that go along with the age of the child. And to me, the good thing about them is that they kind of go at the pace of maturity and growth. And we know these days that the brain is not fully developed until you're 25. And for men, it's more like 28. So I feel even more strongly about this for boys, that it is not good to rush them. So with all that being said, my oldest actually could have started school earlier and he would be in 10th grade right now, but I am so grateful that I said, no, I don't think he's ready. Even though he was ready mentally, I didn't think he was ready emotionally. I did not do it. And I'm so grateful. That was a decision I made back when he was starting kindergarten. And now we're in 9th grade. And I'm so glad I made that decision. So that's one thing that I will say. Maybe you can't change that now, but just not rushing them. There is no rush. There is no finish line. Every single human is unique and different and special in their own way, and they're not going to fit into these arbitrary guidelines that we have. Not everyone is going to fit into that. And I feel like as homeschoolers, we get that. We understand that. And so, but I think sometimes with high school, we can forget, and we can start rushing our child. So you could do dual enrollment, probably starting like 9th or 10th grade, but should you is the question. That is, a big question is, should you? Is your child ready to take that step? Because now that is a transcript that you cannot control. Whatever grade they get with dual enrollment is the grade that they get, and it's on their college transcript and / high school, But if you're just doing high school and you're like, think about it this way. Who's the one creating the transcript here for high school? You may feel really nervous about like following all the guidelines and everything like that, which of course, they need certain credits and all that. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that, look up the laws in your state, what they'll need for, say they have a certain dream college they really want to go to, look that up, like A&M. I have gone and looked up like what kind of requirements they have. So you can have your eye on that and then like see what your state requirements are for graduating from high school and all of that. I think that's all well and good. However, Andrew Pudewa, I think he was the creator of IEW. I've listened to a lot of interviews with him and Sarah McKenzie on the Read Aloud Revival. He says something along the lines of like, put what you have to on the transcript and do what you want. So I think that that's hard for some people to do, but there's so much gray area with this. Like, say I've seen some homeschool moms that are doing high school and they say that they are, for an economics credit, they're kind of just reading books and learning about economics for like 4 years for their entire high school years, and then they just boom, give them a half credit of economics that's required, and they probably ended up getting way more than if they had just gone to public school and taken that one generic half credit economics course for, 1 semester, so I'm not saying that you should underachieve and slack off. I'm just saying that these like arbitrary ideas of credits and things like that, you are the boss. You are the person who's making the transcripts. Andrew Pudewa also says give them all A's, which I think is funny. And you can decide whether you agree with that or not. But it's just, you're the boss. I went to get my son's permit. You have to have a proof of enrollment. And so if he were at a school, I'd have to have the school sign it. But since he's homeschooled, I sign it, because who runs our homeschool? Me. So you have that power. That is why you chose to homeschool. That is why you're sacrificing. It's because you wanted to be the one to call the shots, right? Not the school or the government or whatever. So I think it's important to remember that. It's important to look at your child and see where they're at and what they're ready for. And then also it's important to remember you're the boss. You make the transcript. You run the school. You're the principal and the dean, you're the teacher, the principal, the school board. Everything is you, So anyway, some kids may be really ready. Like they have a specific job that they want to do and they're really ready to get to that job. And so then you have the awesome opportunity to let them go as fast as they want with the dual enrollment and all of that. Another thing I will say, just as some advice, because I've noticed, I'm sure many of you went to college, but I feel like I have a lot of memories of this because I did I wasn't homeschooled, but I did some similar things. Like I went to a community college first and then I transferred to a regular college. And so with that experience, if your child gets a certain amount of credits, dual enrollment, like through the college, I don't think that they are going to need to. Now, don't, look into this. And I'm going to look into this once we start to do the dual enrollment, which we will get to at some point. But like if you have an associate's degree, you do not need to take the SAT. And you do not need to, you're not applying as a freshman because you're not a freshman. You're applying as a sophomore basically because you have your associates. And actually it was really important in my state, at least I live in Texas. It was important for me to get my actual associates and not just take the credits I needed, but not get the associates. I made sure to get that because then they literally just check it off as done. And they don't get to pick and choose which credits they accept, the college that you're going to. They have to just check it as, boom, you have your associates and they have to accept those credits, at least in Texas. And so that's why I do think that my son, my plan is he will get his associates. Will he get his associates in high school or will he spend maybe 1 year getting his associates at the community college or something after he graduates high school? I don't know. It's to be determined on what he's ready for. We can't always prepare for everything. We can't say that my child in 2 or 3 years is 100% going to be ready to get all of these credits, and take all of these college courses and be responsible and be organized and all of that. Are they ready for that? Maybe look back on your own history and think about how life was like for you as a kid. And, your child's going to be different than you, but it is, I think, good to kind of reflect on what went right and what went wrong for you. And I felt like I was rushed. I was a teen mom, and I felt like I was really rushed into just had a baby, boom, start college, take these classes, boom, 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 boom. And that's a whole other video that I would like to make someday. But I do feel like I was rushed. Even in high school, I was rushed and kind of pressured to take all these honors classes and everything. And I just wasn't, I think I mentally could do it, but I wasn't emotionally ready for the kind of responsibility. Hey guys, okay, back after a brief intermission. I had to go pick up my little ones and some of my little ones, and then my toddler, she is just not happy these days. So anyway, let's get back to the homeschooling high school tips. Where was I? Let's see. What's in my notes? This is the hard thing about, this is just real life, guys. It's not easy for me to film these videos. Okay, so another just a practical tip that I have is utilizing online courses for your teens. So there are so many out there. What we have liked is BJU. We've had good experience with BJU online. My son has taken Spanish. He's taken chemistry. What else? I feel like he's taken like one other class. I can't remember. So we've had good experience with BJU online. It's pretty easy to get figured out and everything. And has videos and all of that to learn. We've also been doing Shorman Math, which we really like, especially because he lost that year of school. What Shorman Math does is their Algebra 1 gives you also a half credit of geometry, and they talk about how, you know, algebra and geometry are actually meant to go together, and so it's better to learn it all at once, and then you do Algebra 2 and you get the second half credit of geometry. And so I think that's great for him because, like I said, he's more math minded, and he, you know, I would like him to try to like catch up with math. And like he has zero problems with either. Like I don't have to help him with any of his online stuff. Like I check the grades and all of that. I make sure he's doing what he's supposed to do, because that's the thing that's tough for him in particular, is just doing what he's supposed to do, which is probably a lot of teenagers. But as long as I'm like the manager overseeing things, he is able to do it. I don't have to like tutor him in math or something, which I think they do have options for, you know, tutoring or whatever through Shorman Math if you need that, but he hasn't needed it, so that is nice. And then for English, he does Sunlight, which I've talked about, and I'm still undecided whether I'm going to do it Sunlight again next year for him. I think I probably am, because he's just reading fantastic books. And I just think, what better way to spend your high school years than reading like really solid, good literature. And then I've been reading some read alouds to him. And so that kind of allows, that's the hard part about homeschooling, is you still being more than just telling him, hey, do your work or whatever, but you being more like a part, like my little ones, you know, I'm the teacher, I'm teaching them. And so that can be hard. And so I like that Sunlight has the read alouds that we do together, that I will read to him usually like at night before bed is kind of how I do it. But sometimes it's at other times, or if things get busy, then we have to like catch up, you know how it is. But anyway, so finding what works for you, whether it's online classes, we also do, it's like a private school for homeschoolers, and he only takes health and fitness and then study hall. But you can take up to 4 classes, and so he does study hall, he goes second period, which is study hall, and then he has lunch there with friends, and then he has his health and fitness. And so I picked that specifically so that he could spend lunch there. It's only 2 days a week. So that way he can get some time like with friends and being out of the house and all of that. So that works for us. I don't think that that's like totally necessary, especially if you are able to like take your kid out to like field trips and like hang out with other homeschoolers and have like really strong group and stuff. Then I really don't think it would be necessary. But with me having so many younger kids and I don't have like a huge community, I'm starting to build it finally, but being a young mom with him, I don't have a huge community of other like homeschool kids his age, but we are part of a homeschool group, which our homeschool group is actually amazing for teenagers. They do a lot of really cool things. Like they have like dances, and he's gonna do he hasn't done any dance. Like he's really not that into that, but if you have a kid that is, but he's going to do, they have like an Easter egg hunt that's glow in the dark that they do at night. So they have pizza and then they hunt these eggs, glow in the dark eggs at night. That is like totally up his alley. And so it can be like a fun activity for a teenager without, you know, like teenagers can get into kind of bad things. And so I think it's good to try to create like, see, we can have fun doing like wholesome things. You know what I mean? So being a part of a homeschool group, I would say that's really important. But if you do have, we have a really good homeschool community where we live. I would say maybe move somewhere that has a good homeschool community if you can, but probably a lot of people can't do that. But anyway, we are blessed that we do. So he does go to that little private school for a couple of hours Monday and Wednesday. But like I said, it's not even his core classes. I like the study hall because I know that he's working and I don't have to be like overseeing him because I get very distracted by the little ones, and he can kind of use that to like not do his work, you know? And so that has been like a nice compromise. It's just like, and it's quiet, you know, whereas our house can get pretty loud with the kids. So it's been a really good option for our family. So if you have something like that, we have enjoyed it in that way. Although I would not suggest having them do all their classes. Some kids do, and that's fine. But like for me personally, I would not suggest having like all four, like English, history, science, and math all at the, you know, private school for homeschoolers. Because then it starts to feel like they're not really homeschooled anymore. They're just kind of going to a private school that meets twice a week. Although they do have work they have to do, you know, on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. But we did do that where he went 4 days or had 4 classes in like 7th grade or something, and I didn't like it. It didn't feel like homeschooling. This to me is a really nice balance that feels like we're still homeschooling. And so I did ask him because I was like, you know, if he doesn't really care about this, we might not do it next year. But I asked him if he wanted to, and he said yes. He enjoys it. He likes seeing his friends, you know, having lunch and all that kind of fun stuff. And so I think he'll take some more difficult classes there next year, so that, you know, he can get used to that kind of thing. So that's a perk of ours that I hate to even mention because and it's really affordable too. But I hate to mention it because y'all probably don't have it, but maybe you do. Look into it. You never know. Like I didn't know it existed until I started getting into the homeschooling world and learning about all of that. So you might have something like that. It might be just different. It might be a co-op or something like that, but there's always something that you can join, whether you're paying for it or whether you're there. You know, there's things that you can get involved in, and I would highly suggest that for homeschooling in general, but especially homeschooling high school. I think it's really good to be like plugged into your community. We do chess club. That's another thing that has been just so amazing for our entire family because our whole family goes. The little ones, I stay in like the nursery with them, and then the 2 big kids do chess. And so my high schooler and my 1st grader are both doing the same activity, which I feel like is so rare. And my high schooler, he actually teaches my 7-year-old, and he's starting to teach my 4-year-old how to play chess. So that's another tip I would have for high schoolers if you're trying to get them, you know, if they're taking a bunch of online classes or whatever, and you're trying to get them more just in, you know, one-on-one time, part of the family, not just like sitting off on a computer doing their thing. I would say have them teach your younger kids skills that they have. So my oldest is an amazing chess player. He knows how to solve a Rubik's Cube, like super quick. He's amazing at it. He plays golf, like he has lots of skills. And so he has started teaching my 7-year-old how to solve.
Surprise.
Ah, that is so good, buddy. Way to go. I love it. He's going to love that. Maybe write Pikachu up here.
And then we need to color it in.
Yeah, you can color it in. It might not be able to see with the red. But you could try, do a little yellow on it. And then write Pikachu up there. And then write from Henry down there. I don't want to be in the video. I'm just talking about how Carter teaches you chess, right? What was he teaching you? How to do what in chess recently?
How to checkmate with a rook and how to checkmate with a queen. I did most of the queen. I knew how to checkmate with a queen, but I just needed a little reminder. I did it really good, and then like all I needed is like a little bit wrong. I did a little bit wrong. And then I knew how to checkmate with a rook. I did not know how to checkmate with a rook, and then I know now. He taught me an easier way because my teacher taught me a harder way.
Yeah. So Henry is in his elective school he goes to on Fridays for a few hours. He's in a chess class there too, as well as chess club. So he has like other people teaching him chess, but his big brother does the best job. Huh?
Yeah, my teacher is just like, this is how you move this piece. Okay. This is an opening.
Okay. All right, go ahead, go finish because we're gonna have to leave soon. So.
Oh, sure.
I mean, you don't have to rush. You don't have to rush, but I don't want us rushing. Okay, so go write Pikachu at the top, and then write from Henry. Okay.
Okay.
Love you. Okay, guys. Sorry. This video hopefully is just going to be encouragement to those of you that homeschool high school. I'm just kind of throwing some tips out at you, and as time goes on, and he's in my high schooler has been in high school for a little bit longer, I'll probably have more tips and things. So Sorry, this is all over the place. My little guy Henry is drawing. He was watching a video on how to draw Pikachu because he's going to a friend's birthday party and they're going to watch that Detective Pikachu movie or something. So we always like make a card. So anyway, he's doing that. But yeah, what was I saying? So get your high schooler involved with the family, whether it's you read to them. Trust me, you can read to like adults. Like, I am never going to stop reading to my kids. I refuse. Like, I mean, maybe when they're like grown up and out of the house, I don't know if I'll still read to them, but like all through high school still, I'm going to be reading to my kids. And that's something I do love about Sunlight is they encourage that and they have readers in there. At least on level J, the science one that he's on, does. I guess I can't say that for sure about the other higher levels, but this was a pretty high level and they still have the readers. The read alouds. So anyway, I would say read to them, and then I would say have them, if you have younger children, have them get involved in like passing on their skills to their younger sibling. I think that is good for both people to do that. It's good for the teacher and it's good for the student. So, and they may have skills that you don't have. Like, I can't play chess. Like, I can barely move the pieces. I need to learn because all my kids are playing chess and I need to learn. But anyway, I don't know how to solve a Rubik's Cube. I don't know how to play chess. I can't really golf. So, you know, they can teach all those things. Okay, so I think I'm just going to end today's homeschool high school tips, encouragement to you to keep going with homeschool high school, with just a reminder on your mindset when it comes to teenagers, because a lot of, people talk about how annoying, or not annoying, but just how difficult teenagers can be. And that is true. I've been guilty of that when I'm like wanting him to do things for himself and he's not. And I'm like, come on, you're old enough. So, but teenagers are so fun. They have their own sweetness to them, because even though they are starting to look like, he looks like a man to me and it's just crazy and it's hard for me to like see him turn into that like in the blink of an eye. They still are so young and so precious and so sweet and so funny. And I mean, he makes me laugh till I cry. Like, he is the funniest person I know. Like, we just get each other's humor. And it's really fun to like have someone that you like, that came out of you and that you raised, start to have like adult conversation almost with you. Not inappropriate, but just like regular conversation, and they have your sense of humor and stuff. And it's awesome. It's a lot of fun. So, it can be hard, especially if you have younger kids, but I would say try to prioritize your teenagers. They need you just as much as the toddlers. And this is something I'm saying to myself as well, because it can be hard, because they are, much more self-sufficient, hopefully, in many ways compared to like a toddler, but they still do need you so much. And I'm a firm believer that like, even to this day, I need my parents. Like, I don't really have my mom around, but I wish I did deeply, and I've mourned that a lot. And then my dad, like today, he went with us to get Carter's permit, and he drove, and once he's driving, I just sit back, I don't even think. And that is so nice, because that rarely happens for me. And then he was so easygoing about it not working out, and that helped me be easygoing about it. So I still feel like I need my parents, but I think definitely like, even especially boys too, their brain doesn't even fully develop till they're like 28. And so to just be like, oh, you're 18, you're out and you're done. Like, no, I don't think that is true. I think that you don't suffocate them, like teach them and let them grow. Like, he's getting his permit. That's an important part. He needs to get his license someday. Like, these are all important parts of growing up, and I want that for him. But then also at the same time, don't just like shove them out and rush them. Realize that they're still so young, and they're still growing and developing and figuring out who they are and what they want. And it may take more time than just when they turn 18 and go to college or whatever. It may take more time to figure out what they want to do. And that's okay. Just support them, love them. I'm going to cry. It's so hard for me to watch my kids grow up, but it's also so special. So anyway, I hope this video was encouraging to you in some way. Let me know if it was. If you want to hear more about homeschooling high school, if you have any questions, leave them down below. Definitely subscribe and click the bell to be notified when I post new videos, and give this video a thumbs up. that just supports my channel, gets the algorithm telling people, oh, this is a good video, let's suggest it or whatever. I don't know, at least that's what I think. So that's what people say. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching this video. I truly appreciate you. I'll see you next time. Bye.